welcome everybody, and welcome to UCD Smurfit Graduate Business School. We're welcoming you there. I just pressed on the slides there. So you're joining us today. This is my colleague Joe beside me. So Joe is going to do the demonstration. I'm just going to take a little opportunity just to tell you about Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. They're Ireland's leading business school, and we're also globally recognised. Our qualifications are there with Triple Crown accredited, which indicates the quality of our academics and the quality of our master's programs. So today you're actually joining a master's program in project management, and we have a full-time program in project management. We also have a part-time online program, which is run over 2 years. So that's available on a Monday and Wednesday evening in year one, and Tuesday and Thursday evening in year two. So we still have availability on those programs. We have availability in most of our programs actually just at the moment. So please reach out to us, and we're happy to chat to you around your options. I suppose just on the project management online, what we see with the master's programs for our candidates is it certainly improves your employability and your potential to earn more. We also see we have a very strong leadership and development program, which is part of all our master's programs, and that's very positive for our candidates when they go out into the workplace. So just, I suppose I'll hand you over to Joe, but I've included my details with regard to the application process. So you can go onto our website and check out the programs that are available. This is the entry criteria below. But if you have any questions, please feel free to email the Smurfit admissions email address there, or email me, which we will share with you my email address when we follow up on this after this. So with no further ado, I won't stand in way of the demonstration. Joe, I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Right, what have we got? 688 people on the call, according to the participants. So welcome everybody, thanks for turning up. And I hope this is going to be an interesting next hour or so. I've got a kind of 50 minute timer running. So the idea of today is that we're going to talk about AI in project management and in business generally. So I really, the idea of today is just to show you some of the tools. I've actually been exploring some of these tools with the students at the Smurfit school this week. They're doing an elective on project management, and I think some of the students knew about some of these tools, some of them didn't, but they're all using them now. So they can aid your productivity. Let's put it that way. Some of them have paid tiers, some of them are free, and you know, we'll just show you some of the stuff that you can do now, which you may or may not be aware of. So enjoy the live demo. Why have they got me talking about this stuff? I'm a tech nerd. My background is computing. I was a programmer and then an analyst and then a product manager. Ended up running quite a number of people for the big multinationals, General Electric, people like that. And then back in 2005, wrote the Masters in Project Management here with a colleague, and I've run that for the last 20 odd years. So I kind of teach project management, and I enjoy technology. I've got a couple of books out. So Innovative Teaching with Artificial Intelligence came out a couple of months ago, and then the project management book on the right there as well. So if you enjoy the seminar, you might particularly enjoy the Innovative Teaching with AI book, but we'll see. And then certainly the newsletter. So I do a bi-weekly newsletter as well, Artificial Intelligence for Educators, and that's on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn and you're interested in AI, you might want to sign up for that. And I'm always reading stuff about AI and stuff, so I just share in that newsletter stuff that's happening, and stuff is happening all the time. So that's that. So let me get rid of PowerPoint, because that's the end of the PowerPoint. And let's start off with the seminar then. I'm going to run the seminar out of a tool called Notion. Okay, so I think it's just notion.com. And I'm on a single window here on the laptop because I'm presenting on two big screens as well. So I've had to just compress the browser window slightly. So you're seeing the browser window not filling the left-hand side of the screen because I've got all the Zoom stuff over there. Okay, so there's a few different tools that we're going to look at over the next few minutes. I'm going to show you ChatGPT, and I'm using the paid version of ChatGPT. So it's available for free, but if you pay, I think it's €20 a month, I'm in Ireland, then you can get the latest iteration of ChatGPT, which is version 4, and that gives you kind of slightly more in-depth responses than the free version, which is 3.5. But there are also some other AI chatbots that you may or may not be aware of. So one is called Hugging Chat. Okay, so there we are, there's Hugging Chat. So if you Google Hugging Chat, that is an open source AI chatbot like ChatGPT that does the same kind of thing. So if you prefer to use an open sourced tool, Hugging Chat is good. We also have on the right hand side here, Bing Chat. Now, Bing is the one that I use all the time. Okay. Now, I used to be wedded to Google Chrome as my browser, but since ChatGPT came out and Bing Chat is linked to ChatGPT, I've actually switched browser because Bing Chat only works, as far as I know, in Edge. So you've got to be using the Edge browser. So I've switched into the Edge browser, and I'm using that to run Bing Chat. Okay. Now I've got a couple of hands raised. Anonymous attendee, Jadra, is that better? Can you hear me now? Yes, I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. So apologies for the quietness and yeah, super. Thanks, Jadra. Lovely. Okay, so Hugging Chat, and then yeah, Bing. You have to be running an Edge. But this gives you the ability to open the Bing Chat over on the right-hand side here. Now, if you want to link Bing with ChatGPT, which is probably the best way to use it, when you open Bing up, you need to choose this option, okay? More creative. Because if you're in balanced or precise, you're not using ChatGPT 4, but you get free access to ChatGPT 4 through Bing Chat when you choose the creative option. So that's how you get the use of the latest version of ChatGPT without paying them €20 a month. So that's useful to know, I think. Okay. Now, Bing Chat works wherever, as far as I know, Fergal. I haven't had it kind of, not work on me yet. But some sites are now employing measures to stop themselves being scanned by the chatbots. So there are ways now you can build into your website design kind of blocks for the chatbots. So some sites are doing that, but that kind of applies to pretty much all the chatbots, not just Bing as well. So the idea here of the seminar was, how do we use AI to plan a project? So what we want to do is we want to plan a sales conference. Okay, and you've never planned a sales conference before. Your boss has just come down and said, there's a sales conference in September. I want you to organize it. Okay, and you're one of the many accidental project managers. You've never done a project management degree. You've had no formal training in project management. What do I do next? How do I even start to think about organizing something like a sales conference? Okay. And how can I use ChatGPT and other AI tools to maybe help me? So that's if you like, where I've situated, I suppose, the hour that we're going to do today. Okay. So what is Agent GPT? I hold that DH, and we will come to that later on. Okay, but we will have a play with Agent GPT a little bit later. That's why there's a tab open over there. I'm saving that to last. Okay, so when I'm going into Bing, set Bing Chat to creative mode. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the options for ChatGPT now. So plugins to load and stuff like that. And then we're going to have a look at the different responses to some of these prompts that we would get from the Bing Chat, from ChatGPT, from Notion, and also from Hugging Chat. And then we'll finish off with Agent GPT. So this little document, and I'm gonna share this document. This is a Notion document with all these prompts. I'm going to share this with everybody after the seminar, so you will get a copy of this document that I've got open now. And Professional Academy, when they send you the follow-up email, will share a link to this document. Okay, so hopefully that's going to be it. I'm not going to go into things like the ethical issues around AI today, Karen. I mean, that's a great, interesting discussion, and we will probably be exploring that further. We're looking in the Professional Academy, as a result of the success of the sign-ups today, at running a course, maybe either a certificate or a diploma course around using AI in business. And that will be one of the things that we definitely explore in that. And we have a little poll, actually. I don't know whether I can open that. This might be a good time to try opening that poll, if we can. Let's have a look. Poll quizzes. Here we are. Artificial intelligence for business launch. Right. So if you are interested in learning about a Professional Academy AI for business diploma, yeah, just click on there. And that'll give them an idea of whether oh my goodness, we're up to 200, 300 said yes already. Okay, I think Aisling and the guys at the Professional Academy, we have an answer. People are interested. So thank you for that. Oh my goodness, look at this, 630, 650 people said yes in 10 seconds. Yeah, amazing. Right. Okay, I will move that off the screen and just let it keep counting, because we have 937 people online at the moment. Fantastic. So I guess the boss has just come down and said, organise me a sales conference. So most people are probably going to go into one of the AI tools. Yeah. So let's go into ChatGPT. Okay. So here's ChatGPT. Okay, and ChatGPT 3.5 is the free version, and you get this option here for 3.5. Now, if you have the paid version, you have another button comes up over here, which is ChatGPT 4. Okay, so this is the one that you get access to in ChatGPT, and you can either run it as a default, you can browse with Bing, and that's what I would probably use most of the time with, because that now gives ChatGPT internet access. Up until about 2 weeks ago, ChatGPT was limited to data up to 2021. Now with Browse with Bing, it also has access to current data from the internet, as well as its base data set. So I would generally select Browse with Bing. There we are. And now what we've got is the option to put in stuff. And let's have a look. My window is smaller than you. There we are. I just need to make it a little bit wider. So down here is where you now paste in the prompt. Okay, so create me a project plan for the sales conference. Okay, so let's say okay. And let's just see what it gives us. Okay, look, no hands. This is not me typing. This is ChatGPT. Okay. Now, it doesn't know much about the sales conference yet, because we've not given it any information. We've just said, how do I organize a sales conference? So what we're getting here is a pretty high level, non-specific general overview of how to run a sales conference. So you need a project objective, and it's telling you, right, so what's the purpose of the conference? Its goals, its expected outcomes, okay? Stakeholders, people with an interest in the project or who can affect the project or be affected by it. So we need to identify our stakeholders. We need to put a team together, okay? Now, if you're a project manager, this is kind of second nature. You do this all the time. But if you've never run a project before, even this just gives you some pretty basic, starting points. Right, okay, so here's some headings that I need to start thinking about. Okay. So there we go. Okay. Now, budget, yeah. So how much is it going to cost? Timeline. So we need to figure out, stuff like what tasks need to be accomplished. When do we start different tasks and whatever. Venue and logistics. Yeah. We need some speakers. We need an agenda. We need marketing. How do we tell people about the sales conference and promote it? And then, we need to set up things like registration and attendance, and then evaluation as well. A good sales conference will have some way of evaluating how happy people were with what you did. So you need to set these things up. Now, if you never organized a sales conference, you might have missed that. But straight away, ChatGPT gives you this stuff, and then some kind of post-conference follow-up, whether that's an email or a letter or whatever to people. So just that one-liner, create me a project plan. ChatGPT is giving you, some good stuff. Okay. So that prompt was just create me a project plan for a sales conference. Okay. Now let's go back into Notion. So that's our first prompt. Now, the more you give these different chatbots information about what it is you're looking for, the better the information that comes back. So we might amplify that into something like this. Okay, so let me highlight this prompt here and copy that. And let's go back into ChatGPT and let's just pop that in. Okay, so here's my prompt now. I don't have a team, it's just me as the PM. I've never organized a sales conference before. Can you act as an experienced project manager and guide me in creating this or organizing this? Ask me a series of questions that will give you the information you need to create a comprehensive project plan so I can run it successfully. So one of the kind of tricks with ChatGPT and these other chatbots is set a context, give the chatbot a role. So imagine that the chatbot is a real person, is your personal assistant, or in this case, an experienced project manager. So you tell them who they are. Okay, and then they will act in that manner and they will feed you information that is couched in those terms and stuff like that. And then tell it what you want, or tell it what you want to do. And in this case, I want it to ask me a series of questions. So let's see what this does now. And you have to just scroll down when you put in a new thing. Okay, so there we are. Absolutely, I'd be glad to help. Okay, so I put that detail into the follow-up prompt. So this is the second prompt that I'm using. And the other thing is with ChatGPT and Bing and all the rest of it, these chatbots remember the previous bits of the conversation. So you can build up quite a complicated series of prompts and a conversation, and it'll remember the earlier stuff that was in the conversation, just like a real person would. Okay. So look at this. So now it's kind of broken down the same things again, but what it's saying is, okay, objectives and goals. What's the primary objective of this sales conference? What are the specific goals you want to achieve? So it's asking particular questions now, okay? And it's so if you answer all these questions, then it's going to be able to give you a much more detailed plan based on these responses, okay? So we could start off and say, so I'm just going to kind of answer some of these questions. Okay, so we are a medical devices company, and the sales conference is for our 100 sales people to get up to speed on our new product launches, get some sales training and a day of motivational speeches from invited guests. Okay, so that's it. And even if you make kind of spelling mistakes, it's intelligent enough to kind of figure out that you've made those spelling mistakes. But I normally just try and get them right if I can. So motivational speeches. Okay, what other ones? Let's scroll up again. Who are the key stakeholders? What are their expectations? Who are the attendees? Well, I've told them that. How many am I expecting? 100 salespeople. So the budget, yeah, okay, so let's do that. So our budget is, I don't know, 25,000 euro. Budget is 25,000 euro. Yeah, what else are we, what other questions have we got? Are there any specific budget restrictions? No. And we want to make the conference as eco-friendly and sustainable as possible. Okay. Get rid of the D there. Yeah. When do you plan to hold the sales conference? Date should be, let's give it a real date. What's the date in, say, September? May, June, July, August, September. So let's say Monday the 11th to the 15th of September. Monday the 11th to 15th September 2023 in Dublin, Ireland. Yeah. Venue needs to be big enough for 100 sales people, their partners and guests, say 250 in total. Okay. Bum 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 bum. So let's just see what it does with that then. So we'll just click on that. Let's see what that gives us. Okay. Okay. Who asks, if I send exactly the same question, will ChatGPT generate the same answer? No, it'll generate different answers every time. So that's quite interesting. Sometimes if you don't get quite the answer that you want, try submitting the same prompt again, or try rewording the prompt, because rewording the prompt very often gets you very different answers. So, just like when you're talking to somebody, you ask them one thing, you ask them the same kind of thing, but you just reword it and they'll give you a different answer. So that works quite well. Okay. So there we go. ChatGPT is not good at giving sources for its references as yet. Now, Bing is a lot better at that. So Bing's been coded to give you much better sources. And that's why I tend to use Bing more now than ChatGPT. But this is the one everybody's heard of. So I'm starting off in ChatGPT just to show you what it's giving us. Okay. So that's fine. Okay. So let's scroll down and see. So here's our plan now, evolving in a little bit more detail. So we've got a purpose, we've got some stakeholders identified, so that'll help us now start to do a stakeholder, analysis and whatever. Here's my responsibilities as the PM. Okay. All right, so 25,000 euros sounds a lot, but we've got to do venue, we've got to do catering, we've got to pay our speakers, we've got to pay for marketing and all the rest of it. So again, it's giving us more information about what we need to think about that we might not have as an inexperienced project manager. And that's kind of, what we're doing here. Okay. Now, if your 11th of September is the date, we need to put some milestones in. We need to put some points in between now and then, by which time certain elements of the planning need to have been done. Yeah. So, finalizing the venue, that probably needs to be done fairly early on, doesn't it? Because then we send invitations out and people know about making their travel arrangements and booking the rooms and all the rest of it. Speakers, who's going to speak now? You can round up speakers fairly late, but ideally you round them up early, and then you know that you've got them and you can plan an agenda around them, that kind of stuff. So venue, logistics. Since sustainability is a key concern, we'll look for venues that align with this goal. So this is giving us now some ideas about venues that might promote recycling, use renewable energy, plant-based catering options. Okay, so this is showing you kind of what we get from ChatGPT. Let me open Bing up. Okay, and let's give Bing the same questions. Okay, so the first one that's still in there is create me a project plan for the sales conference. Okay, so let's ask Bing that and see what Bing gives us now, and whether it's the same or different to so let me paste it. Create a project plan from the sales conference. Yeah, there we are. All right, go. So it's having a little think. And because we chose the use, because Bing is connected to the internet, what it's doing now is going onto the net and it's looking around the net for some stuff. Okay, so this is giving us a slightly, an introduction to what a project plan is. And now it's starting to outline, in very general terms, how we break that plan down. So, but you see, it's not the same as the ChatGPT response. It's a slightly different response that we're getting. Same basic ideas: define your goals, set your budget, choose a format and a theme, find a venue and accommodation, but it's in different order, it's using different words and whatever, because these are different tools, they're different algorithms. So they're using slightly different, perhaps, source materials. You don't know where the source materials are coming from because it's going off and just searching. And this is why it's quite useful when you're using AI tools to have some kind of domain knowledge about the questions that you're asking, because if you don't, and you just assume that what it's giving you is true, that can be pretty dangerous. And there's this thing called hallucinations. Now, AI is just started. ChatGPT came out in November. It's only less than 6 months old. But what AIs seem to be doing is getting better at this. But what they do is if they don't know, they make it up. There's a case in the news at the moment about an American lawyer who is in hot water because he basically asked AI to create some case documentation, which was sent to court, and the AI had cited a number of cases, and he thought these cases looked legitimate. He sent the documentation into court, and it turns out that the AI had made these cases up. The opposing team had said these cases don't exist, and now he's getting hauled over the coals because he didn't check the sources. So this stuff is amazing, and it looks amazing when you first see it and all the rest of it. And sometimes it is amazing. Sometimes it gives you the right answer, but you can't assume it's giving you the right answer. So you need to check. And particularly if it seems to be citing, sources or making particular statements, well, go on, check that those statements are true before you commit that to, a document with your name on it. Right. So that's stuff. Okay. Let's just see whether there's anything else in here. Is there a guideline or best practice emerging for prompts? There's loads of stuff around prompts, and I mean that's one of the things we would look at if we ran a certificate or a diploma. That will be part of that program and stuff like that. Okay, can I get data from the web? Yeah. It depends on the data that's available and whether it's been put behind firewalls and stuff like that. But Bing is definitely connected to the web, and so there is some availability of web-based data. Michael, yeah, absolutely. How did I launch it? Was it from Edge? Yeah. So I've got the full screen. But well, I've got the full screen because you've got it on the right-hand side there, Anne-Marie. All I've done is just grab this center bar and just pulled it over like this. Okay, so that just gives you a bigger screen and stuff like that. Okay, so it does adjust your prompt. So it said, when I put my prompt in, which was create me a project plan for a sales conference, what Bing searches for is how to create a project plan for a sales conference. Okay, so it's actually kind of just like a person, I suppose. When you talk to Bing or when you talk to ChatGPT, you phrase your question, but then it interprets your question, and then it goes off and finds stuff based on what it interprets. And that's why sometimes just rewording your question slightly will generate different results. So if you treat these chatbots like a person in terms of the way you talk to them, you'll get more stuff out of this. Okay. Can you help use ChatGPT to help you design and build a very effective and efficient business plan? Absolutely, you can, Patricia. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're helping getting ChatGPT help us design a project plan. But it doesn't matter what it is you want to design. It could be a lesson plan, it could be a business plan, it could be a plan for anything. It could be to help you write a book or help you write an article or whatever. If you can give it prompts and ask it questions, it will probably be able to give you this stuff. Okay. So that's it. Yeah, government departments and public bodies. I mean, I don't know. Whenever this is one thing you have to be kind of pretty cognizant of. If you put stuff into any of these chatbots, if you give these chatbots information, about your company or about your plans or whatever it is, that becomes part of their data set. So you've got to be very careful here. And I know that some companies already are kind of banning the use of things like ChatGPT. I think it was Samsung said like their employees are not to be using ChatGPT because they don't want proprietary information ending up in the public domain as part of, the chatbot's data set. So for personal stuff that it doesn't really matter, this is great. Yeah. For business sensitive stuff, for government department stuff and whatever, there may be some caveats to think about before you start allowing everybody to use this stuff. But again, that's kind of outside of the scope of today. All right. So I've shown you that. So let's take our second prompt then from Notion, which was, I don't have a team. And let's just see whether Bing gives us anything different to what ChatGPT did. Okay. So it's going to have a little think. You see, when that stop responding comes up, that means it's thinking. There we go. So now it's coming up with a series of questions. And again, they're pretty similar questions to the ones that ChatGPT came up with. So when it's finished this, let's go back to that question earlier on from the Q&A about sources. Okay. And let's see whether we can get it to tell us, if you like, where it was getting its ideas from. So that's easy enough to do. Okay. So here's some of the questions. All right. So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Now, one thing that I use quite a lot, and I'm on a Mac. I don't know whether this works on Windows or whatever, but I've set my Mac up so if I double press the function button, I'm in dictate mode. So if I press the dictate button, okay, you see my dictate button has come up now, and now as I speak and not type, I can actually talk to ChatGPT, and it's typing. So I'm going to ask it a question now. So Bing, the questions above, where did you source the information from? Can you give me the sources, please? Okay, so it's saying in that case it was just using general stuff, so that's not really particularly useful. Okay, so sometimes it'll give you a kind of generic answer like that. Sometimes it'll actually give you the sources. So let's see. All right. So we could go through the same process and start answering all these questions and stuff like that. But let's just move down a little bit, and there are different types of document that you would tend to create when you're moving through a project. Okay, and you could ask it. So here's another way. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, I want to run this project according to Prince2 standards. Okay, tell me what documents I need to get started. So you've heard about Prince2, you know, it's a project management methodology, but maybe you've not done the Prince2 course yet or whatever. So does this know about Prince2? Okay, certainly does. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so Prince2 pretty much always wants some kind of a business case when you start. It needs some kind of a project brief, a document outlining, you know, the basic start of the project. Initiation documentation is pre-project documentation, kicking the tires on the idea. Should we do it? Should we not? That kind of stuff. Okay, so here we go. And it's telling us basically the different documents that we're going to need and basically what's in them. Okay, so we could say, okay, that's great. Would running the project as a PMI project using PMBOK require a different set of documents? Yeah. Give me sources for your answer. Answer. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay. John O'Malley, I will come to you later on. Okay, can it generate a Gantt chart? Okay, so yeah, this prompt engineering stuff. Yeah, Gabriel, I would quite agree. The whole idea of getting the most out of these chatbots is an emerging field, and people are, you know, writing a lot of stuff about it and doing courses on it. So yes, that would be part of the course that we will put together, stuff like that. Okay. So here we go. Running the project according to PMBOK would require a different set of documents than Prince2, because Prince2 is quite a strict methodology, and there's a certain way of doing things, and it's focused on products. It's focused on the output of the project, whereas the PMI approach from PMBOK is sometimes more focused on like the how you do each section. So here we are. We start with a project charter, the early stage document that outlines the project, yeah, and then we move into a project management plan with more of this early stuff built in and expanded on it. Okay, and then we've got some other documents like an activity list, a milestone list, a network diagram, resource requirements, risk register, change log. So it's giving you all this information. But then you could go in and you could say, okay, so we've done that, yeah. So let's go a little bit further with the PMI methodology. Okay, so I want a detailed work breakdown structure for the sales conference. Yeah. So let's take this thing here, Control C, and let's put this into Bing. Let's see what this gives us. Create me a detailed work breakdown structure for the sales conference using the Prince2 methodology to base the structure on. For each bottom level task, give me an estimate of how many days it will take and what other tasks are predecessors to this one. So this is the kind of information that you would typically need if you were putting together a project plan and you were going to use Microsoft Project or Planner or ClickUp or Team Gantt or something to create your overall project plan. So here we are. So it's saying a WBS, work breakdown structure. Here's the stuff that we need to put in. Okay, 4 steps. Now let's see whether it'll actually give us a work breakdown structure or whether it just tells us about it. Okay, here's an example coming up. Okay. So now it's having a little think about this. So what we have now coming up in Bing is a hierarchical work breakdown structure of our generic sales conference. Okay, so we've got different products, different outputs from this project. One of which is, we need to choose a venue, then we need an agenda, and for each of these main products, then we've got some subcategories, subtasks things. So we need a venue booking system. We need a contract. We need to know the layout. How many rooms are we going to need? And, which ones are meeting rooms and which ones are training rooms and all that kind of stuff. So this has given us a pretty good idea. And then look at that. So it's given us an estimate of how long it's going to take in days to do each of these things and what has to have happened before. So before we can do a contract, we need to have kind of found out, which venue we're going to book with. Before we book our conference speakers, we need to know what our conference sessions are going to be. So this is giving us a lot of information as kind of new project managers. I can see lots of hearts and wows and stuff popping up on the screen here. Yeah, so this is obviously resonating with a few of you, and we've got some hands. Yeah. Can you go back in and build on the same chat days later on? Yeah, you can. ChatGPT maintains a history of all your chat. Bing, up until recently, didn't do that, but I think it's in there now. And there are certainly add-ins that you can install that will do that, will record the history, if you like. So you can go back to the history and amplify it later on and stuff like that. Dave's saying he's tried ChatGPT on Bing on Edge and it's limited him to 5 questions. Okay, so there might be a limit if you're on the free option, Dave. Maybe that's because I'm on the paid version of ChatGPT that I'm getting all of this stuff. Yeah, there's issues with it. I mean, it's not a full answer all the time, but it's a pretty good answer to get you started with on a lot of this stuff. Okay. Now let's have a look at Hugging Chat. Hugging Chat is another one. So I'm just going to close the Bing option down. Now this one is a completely open source. So this is free, it's open source, anybody can use it, and it's part of the open source movement. Okay, so you're not necessarily paying into any of the commercial chatbots and stuff like that. But again, we could take the same prompts. In fact, let's just take one we haven't done. Okay, create me a detailed risk plan, identifying the top 20 risks to the sales conference. Okay, so not Agent GPT now, Hugging Chat. Okay, now first time into Hugging Chat, we better tell it a little bit about this. We are organizing a sales conference in September for 100 sales staff for a week. Okay, create me a detailed risk plan. Let's see what this gives us. So now it's going to give us a list of risks that we should think about and we should work on for our sales conference. Okay. And they're all good risks. These are all good things that we should be thinking about and planning with. And some of them might be done by the venue, but you should never make assumptions. So, you would maybe go over this list with the venue and they say, yeah, we've got, 10 and 12 and 15 covered, but you need to sort out 1 and 4 or whatever it is. Okay. So again, really, really good for surfacing possibilities, for surfacing ideas. I use ChatGPT or something like it for, brainstorming ideas. I've got to come up with a new lecture or a new session or a new chapter for a book or whatever. Okay, so I'll put some thoughts down and I'll say, give me some ideas. Give me some best practices. What's out there today that's in use? This kind of stuff. And ChatGPT's got the whole of the internet, and it's got a whole corpus of knowledge that's accessible, stuff that I don't know about. And it doesn't matter whether you're a professor at a business school or whether you are straight out of school and you've got very little experience of business or whatever. This kind of levels the playing field to a large extent because it's giving us access to information in a way we've never had it before. It's going to change lots of stuff. It's going to change education. It's going to change the way we generate and disseminate knowledge. And we don't know where it's all going yet. But that makes it pretty interesting, doesn't it? Which is why I guess we've got 900 of you on the call. Okay. Am I using a browser extension for ChatGPT? Yes, I've got a couple of other extensions installed there on ChatGPT, so it doesn't look like vanilla ChatGPT. But that's that. Now, somebody asked earlier on about Gantt charts, and a Gantt chart is a timeline chart for outlining a project, the tasks across time. Okay, so I'm going to come back into here, into my Notion document, and I've got this prompt here. Okay, now there is a website called tomsplanner.com. Okay, and I found this yesterday. I was doing a bit of research for the seminar, and I thought, I wonder whether we can create a Gantt chart. So here's the event description. Okay, so you're an event management consortium hired by me to provide a detailed planning process. September 23, company 5-day conference, all the rest of it. Copy that. Now let's go off to Tom's Planner. Okay, so this is tomsplanner.com. And I'm just going to paste in that prompt and say, create me a project plan. Look, no hands. Okay. So what we're going to get now is it's going to start, and it takes a little while. Okay, so initial planning, venue selection, agenda development, speaker coordination, logistics management, event execution. Okay, so they're the kind of top levels. And now it's breaking those down. So it's generating this. Look, I'm not, this isn't me. This is the AI. Okay. And it's breaking these down into smaller tasks now. And it's putting them into a Gantt chart, which you can then start to put, predecessors into and put estimates of time and all the rest of it. I wasn't aware of this until a couple of days ago. So, but it's scary, isn't it? It's just magic that you can type stuff in and this just happened. This took us days before, and now it doesn't. Now this stuff can be done remarkably quickly. And I showed this to my students this week, and I was encouraging my students. There's a chap called Ethan Mollick, Mollick, who is a professor at Wharton in the US, and earlier on in the year he published a little AI policy that he uses with all his classes, and he said, like, AI's out the box, it's not going back in the box. And there was all this kerfuffle in the last few months, and some schools were saying, oh no, we've got to ban it, and students can't use it. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, AI is out there now, these tools are available. If you don't want to use them, that's up to you, but somebody's going to use them. And if you're not one using them, you're going to be left behind. So the thing to do is to learn about these tools, is to find out what they can do, and then leverage them for your studies, for your business, or whatever. We don't tell our students they can't use Google search. We don't tell our students they can't use the calculator. I remember when I was young and calculators came in, that was going to be the death of mathematics. Yeah, it wasn't. And this is just another way of accessing and presenting information. It's a much more powerful way. It's a scary thing right now, but we've got to look at this and embrace it and decide how we're going to use it. So today was just really a very quick dip in the water introduction to showing you a little bit about this. The last thing I want to do before we finish is just show you this thing called Agent GPT, and this is the next step. Okay, so if you think ChatGPT and Bing are amazing, this is scary amazing. Okay, because what Agent GPT does is allows you to tell it, right, go and create me a project plan. Okay, and rather than just asking question and then getting a response and then having to ask another question and stuff, what Agent GPT does is goes and just intelligently builds and builds and builds. So it kind of takes some stuff, and then it'll take that and it'll analyze that, and it'll go to the next step and the next step and the next step. Now, this is just a beta. So it doesn't, it'll only go so far in one go and stuff, but it's going to be incredibly powerful, this stuff. Okay, so, my sales conference. Okay, so let's paste that, paste that prompt in that we did before. Deploy the agent. Okay, let me sign in. I think I signed in with Google before. Okay, there we are. So sales conference, deploy. Okay. So it's going to have a think, and it's going to generate itself a list of tasks. Okay. And then it's going to start working through the tasks one by one. So it's, it's a beta, and but look, conduct a needs assessment with the client to determine the conference objectives, identify and secure a suitable venue, collaborate with MedDev leadership to select invite speakers, develop a detailed itinerary, okay, begin the work. So these are all separate tasks. And now, look, it's going off and it's doing the needs assessment, okay? Here we are. So here's the subtasks that it's coming up with and stuff like that. And when it's finished doing this, it's going to start on the next one. So this is kind of like ChatGPT on steroids. It's kind of like iterating itself. Yeah. And there we are. There's an itinerary for our sales conference. Look, coming up and stuff like that. I mean, this is just like, this is the next level of this stuff. Now, as I say, this is only a beta and it'll only go so far at the moment. But look, it's adding more tasks and stuff, thinking again, and then it'll go and it'll carry on more and more and more and more. Okay. So this is hopefully just giving you a flavor for what is out there at the moment. There's a lot of stuff. It's changing every day. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing the newsletter a couple of times a week, because I'm fascinated by this stuff. I mean, I hope that comes over. And we're building it, if you come to Smurfit, if you come to the professional academy and do further studies, you are going to be using this stuff now. Because this is the way to go. And I mean, it's the way to access knowledge effectively and efficiently now. It's not cheating, okay? It's leveraging your available resources, just like Google search isn't cheating. Yeah. What, you're supposed to actually walk to the library, are you, and open the books in, the physical books? Yeah. No, it's not cheating to go into Google search. It's not cheating to go into ChatGPT. It's just a higher level that gives you more back faster. Yeah. Yeah. Loads of ethical discussions to be had here about declaring your use of this stuff and how it gets its information and citing sources. All that stuff is accepted and would be looked at. But I mean, just look, it's just carrying on. So now we're looking at speakers and stuff like that, and all this stuff is saved and is then usable later on. Let's have a quick look at the Q&A, because I'm sure there's been some stuff going on here. We probably won't get through all of it, but let's see what else we've got. Aisling, is there anything particular that you spotted as we went through that you think I should be doing if Aisling is on? Otherwise, I'm just going to scroll through. Do we use this for lectures? Yeah, absolutely. When I'm putting new lectures together now, one of the first things I do is go to ChatGPT or go to one of the AIs and say, okay, give me some ideas that I could cover in a lecture on sustainability, project management, or on, whatever it is. And it'll spit out a load of ideas. And I'll maybe pick some of those ideas and I'll say, right, give me best practice on this thing, or what are the current models that I should be using for doing this or whatever, and it'll give me that stuff, and then I can assemble a narrative and a story and create materials and point students to it. And I mean, that's it.
One question, Joe, just sorry to interrupt you, on the newsletter. How do people sign up for the newsletter?
Oh, the newsletter, right? Okay. Well, let me bring PowerPoint back up, but not that one. That's my risk.
The other question
that's my risk stuff.
Is what's the difference between paying for it and not paying for it? We'll say you said about €20 a month for ChatGPT.
Yes.
If we're to pay for it, what's the benefit of paying for it? Is there something?
Right, ChatGPT 3.5 is the free version, and it's trained on a smaller data set, and it doesn't, I think, have access to the internet. ChatGPT 4 has a much bigger data set, and now it's being integrated with Bing, so it has access to current information as well. So it gives you more in-depth information, which is more up to date. So they're the main benefits of paying for it. But one thing I would suggest is, I mean, I'm doing a lot of these demos, so I'm going to pay for ChatGPT, but I'm also paying for other tools as well. One of the best tools that I've come across, and it's the one that I kind of, put together all my notes and things for the seminar on, is this thing called Notion. Okay, so here's Notion, and I think it's just Notion.com. Okay, and I think it's €15 a month. And when you pay the subscription to Notion, you get an AI built into Notion. So if I want to say, right, so here we are. Let me open up this prompt here. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. So you're in Notion, in a document, you press the / key, ask AI to write. Okay. Oop, don't know what happened there. I just seem to have lost the connection briefly. Back to my content. Don't know what happened there. Okay, there we are. So Control V, enter. Okay. So the AI, so this is like having ChatGPT within your document. And now look. Yeah. It's just adding that text into my document. Okay. So there we are. And now I can come back further down, and I can put another prompt in here, and then it will expand on that. Okay, create me a communications plan. Okay, copy, put in a new line here, ask AI to write. Okay, and now it'll generate me a communications plan. There we go. And I can share this document in Notion with anybody. So I can generate a link to this Notion document and share that and send it you on an email or whatever. And that's actually what I plan to do. I'm going to share this document with everybody who's on the call. So you'll be able to go in and view this document and see the prompts that I used and whatever. Okay, so that's that. Now, the PowerPoint slide, I'm just trying to bring PowerPoint up again. There we are. So there's my bi-weekly newsletter on AI. That's up on the screen, isn't it? Yeah. So if you want to scan that QR code, there's a bit.ly code there as well if you want the bit.ly code, and that'll be on the video. So if you haven't got your phone with you and you can't scan it now, you'll get the video, and you can always get it off the video as well.
Big question, Joe, I suppose, is this the end of project managers as we know it, and the requirements? It seems to be a few people asking that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? It's the end of people not knowing how to run a project from a documentation point of view, because that stuff is now freely available. You just ask it, what documents do I need? But project management, I mean, if you come and do the course with us, and I'm sure if you do the diploma with the UCD Professional Academy as well, project management isn't about documents. Project management's about people. Project management's about relationships. It's about establishing working relationships with all your stakeholders, with your customers, with your employees, with your suppliers, with your contractors, and getting everybody on the same page and moving in the same direction. ChatGPT can't do that. ChatGPT can't build a relationship with other people. So, we spend more time at Smurfit, I think, teaching soft skills and teaching about dealing with people, getting the best out of people, developing leadership skills, developing sales skills. That's where the real action is. The technical stuff is relatively easy, and ChatGPT can give us that now, just like Google search can give us that now, but the interactions with people, that's so far AI can't do. Hold that thought for a couple of years and let's see where we are then. Yeah. Okay. Any other big questions, Elaine?
They were the big ones, really. I suppose just about the recording recording, just remind everybody that it is recorded.
Yep, so this has been recorded. You will get an email over the next few days from the UCD Professional Academy with I presume, a downloadable link to the video or an access to the video. Yeah, Joseph asked whether PDFs can be read, training manuals, that kind of stuff. Yes, they can. There are add-ins to all these chatbots now that can access information. If you feed it information, read it a PDF. That I use a load of add-ins now, Chrome add-ins, to do things like, you know, find me academic sources, for instance, and stuff like that. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It surfaces papers I would never have found. I use it to help write books and structure out chapter headings for me and stuff like that. It's just, it's incredible. Subscribe to the newsletter, and I keep throwing in all the new stuff that's happening. Yeah, I would, yeah, hopefully today has been vaguely interesting to everybody. What are we on? 2:02. I have my class due back in 20 minutes or so, and I haven't had lunch yet. So I'm going to close it down about there, if that's all right. So thank you all for coming.